Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spanish for Kiddos podcast, where you can listen to fun bilingual stories and more. My name is Barbara. I am the owner of Spanish for Kiddos and your host for this spring season of bilingual reading. I'll be sharing fun bilingual stories for the spring season. So join me as I read aloud fun English and Spanish stories to encourage bilingual readers to read more. Thank you so much for listening to the Spanish for Kiddos podcast and have a wonderful day. Today I'm going to discuss something a little bit different. I want to give you some very simple tips on how to lesson plan. I know perhaps after a break or after a long vacation, or maybe it's the first week of school and organization, sometimes it's just not where you wanted it to be. And lesson planning is one of those things that some people dread into even tackle that. So how is it to organize your lesson planning? Probably is challenging, probably is dreadful, and you don't even look forward to it. So I hope these tips can help you. And also, if you want to check out the blog post on this lesson plan resources for bilingual educators, it has tons of resources how to do that. I also have some free resources to help you get started if you want to, along with a calendar or a planner as well. If you are a subscriber to the newsletter to Spanish for Kiddos, you can get that as well. So what are those tips? One of those is that you want to use themes as a way to categorize your lessons. What do I mean by that? Nothing more than just using themes like holidays, seasons, animals, or special events. Why is that? Because they're very simple for students to activate that prior knowledge and actually recall what they've learned at some point. And so that helps them to recall and actually associate what they've learned at some point, that you can actually introduce something. So that way, bilingual students are able to recall what it was like for that specific event, season, or some other time. So I specifically talk about using the 5 senses in a theme. It's a very common theme. It's very easy to understand for students to grasp that concept, and where you can take this theme in various subjects like language, math, reading, and science. Then you can add other activities to correlate to each subject. You don't have to stop there, and you can add even more. Another tip is to have a template that works for you. Yes, I know that there's so many out there and there's so many ways that you can do this. But that means whether you use a paper calendar or a digital form of a calendar, just use it to jot down some important dates that occur at your school. Because that way you can plan projects and fun activities that are not interrupted by unexpected events. Can you always control what's going on or what's going to happen in a school day? Of course not. I don't think anybody can. But you can plan what your learning goals are for that day or week. So a template can help you do that because it's something that you can easily get to, and you know exactly how to organize it from those 6 steps that I talk about on my blog post, that you can go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's something that can help you either in a rush, or maybe you want to do it for your substitute teacher. And that's something that can help you stay ahead of the game and then plan. Another tip is monitor your students' progress. May sound obvious, but you need to know where your students are to know where you need to focus on. What do I mean? Simply use the techniques you have been using to see how students are understanding the material. If a lesson was difficult to understand, your students may be needing more support. But if something was easy to grasp, then your students are rocking it. They are super, super great. They are actually understanding what's going on. And that's a great feeling when your students are on target to further learning. Here's a transcript for the blog post Lesson Plan Resources for Bilingual Educators. Lesson plan resources are valuable tools for many bilingual teachers and educators. Of course, a lesson plan should not be a rigorous application of how to teach. However, a lesson plan is a pathway for teachers to know how to navigate through a topic. Likewise, going on a trip, you might need a map, GPS, or navigation system. In the broadest sense, these navigation tools help explorers to plan their destination or where they are going. Similarly, a lesson plan helps educators understand how to instruct a particular topic without getting lost or overwhelmed with details. Lesson plan resources using themes. There are many lesson plan resources to help educators organize topics and ideas. Is one method the ultimate way to lesson planning? Of course, you might want to adhere to your school's policy for lesson planning. If you don't have a guide to lesson planning, there are approaches to help you get organized. Using themes such as animals, holidays, seasons, or other general ideas can help you group various topics. For example, if you use a 5 senses lesson as a theme to learn about the 5 senses, body parts, and seasons, you might add other components too. For language, you can add a vocabulary component to understanding the 5 senses, body parts, terms in English and Spanish, nouns, and adjectives. Consequently, for math, you could incorporate learning the numbers 1 to 5 in English and Spanish. Then in science, you might add hands-on activities to explore the 5 senses or use a fun learning science experiment. The 52 weeks of Bilingual Preschool Themes course has a bonus section to help plan lessons for the school year. How to write effective lesson plans. Organizing a lesson plan is one of the first steps to creating practical lessons. But how do you begin to write one? What are the essential components of a lesson plan? Like there are many ways to approach lesson planning, there are many different ways to write one. You want 5 to 6 comprehensive sections to guide you through the topic. First, you want to begin with an introduction. The section can be short and brief depending on how you want to introduce the topic to your students. Examples of introductions can include fun videos, inspirational quotes, odd facts or statistics, think questions, or cartoons. The introduction serves as a preview of what you will discuss. Next, you can lay out the learning objectives and goals. You could post these on the board or a slide. These learning objectives and goals are helpful for you to know what you need to teach that day or week. After that, you can begin planning fun activities related to your topic. Ideas can include kinesthetic activities like modeling clay, cut and paste tasks, experiments, and using manipulatives. Of course, you should see what best fits your class. Perhaps your students prefer more movement at the beginning of a lesson and reading afterward. So gauge how your students learn best to plan your activities. Evaluating students' progress. A lesson plan is only complete with knowing how your students are learning, or you need to reinforce concepts. The following steps are important in evaluating their learning and making conclusions for your lessons. For example, you could add exit tickets, assessments, formative or summative, a fill-in-the-blank thought, a short video and think question, or a discussion question with the class. The last steps to a lesson plan are formulating a conclusion and reflection. Take the time to address what went great for your lesson and the drawbacks. Ask yourself, would you repeat this lesson? Also, many lessons may work fantastic with one group of students, but not for others. So consider what you might need to adjust accommodations, time, or flexibility. The exclusive member area for Language Bilingual Learners course has a bonus section dedicated to lesson planning and how to set one up. Lesson plan templates for bilingual educators. While themes and organization are helpful lesson plan resources to lesson planning, a template can also help you in structuring your teaching. As mentioned before, there are many ways to write a lesson plan, so use what works for you. Using a lesson plan template is ideal for organizing those fundamental 6 steps. However, templates are not one size fits all. Consider what you need to teach your class best. Can you add a section for accommodations? You may need additional tools for special education students. Consider if you prefer a paper copy and gather your lessons in binders, or use a digital form like Google Drive to organize your classes. Either way, use a template containing 6 components to keep you organized with each topic. Also, at the end of the school year, you can take an inventory of your lesson plans. Decide which lessons were the most valuable to your students and which ones you might have to rethink. Lesson plan resources such as templates can also help you categorize Spanish activities or bilingual ones. Instead of having multiple lesson plans, create a template in English and Spanish to know when to implement dual language instruction. How to develop lesson plans for Spanish teaching. Developing a routine for lesson planning can save you time and help you to focus on your teaching. First, start with a school calendar. That way, you can plan holidays, Spirit Week, assemblies, special events, and occasions. Also, if you have short weeks or days, using a calendar can help you decide which topics to cover. A calendar and a planner are ideal lesson plan resources. Whether you choose a monthly or weekly planner, have one handy to plan your day or week. Second, map out these 52 weeks of the year into quarters or a set of 3 months. This way, you'll have an idea when to grade or organize a project. Next, narrow down your planning to days and hours. Don't feel overwhelmed by large projects, unexpected meetings, or events. Consider each step into smaller ones. Once you have a calendar and planner of school events, you start using your lesson plan resources for Spanish teaching. Schedule time for lesson planning. While the old saying is easier than done, scheduling is just as important as planning. What are the best parts of the day for lesson planning? Do you prefer the morning, afternoon, or evening? As stated before, you don't have to plan all 52 weeks of the school year. Take one step at a time. The How to Learn Spanish in Simple Steps series also helps you develop Spanish lesson learning with activities. Summary of lesson plan resources. Lesson plan resources are essential tools for teachers to save time and enjoy teaching. You don't need to feel overwhelmed with many teaching tasks that may drain your energy. Use lesson planning to devise an instruction plan that is useful to your bilingual students and fun. In the end, teaching should be a fun career that you enjoy. When you have fun teaching, your students thrive and learn too.